What if I were to tell you that Edgar Cayce, the most extensively documented psychic in America, conducted over 14,000 readings that uncover the reasons some children recall their past lives, while others do not? And what if this revelation alters everything you believed about consciousness and spiritual growth? In this video, I'm about to unveil 3 astonishing insights from Cayce's documented sessions that shed light on this phenomenon. By the conclusion, you'll grasp why certain souls opt to retain memory links across lifetimes, how this relates to our collective spiritual advancement, and, most crucially, what implications this holds for your personal spiritual path. But before we dive in, let me pose a question to you. Have you ever seen a young child demonstrate abilities or knowledge they couldn't have realistically acquired? Perhaps you've noticed a toddler accurately discussing places they've never visited or people they've never encountered. Edgar Cayce experienced these phenomena countless times over his 43 years of conducting psychic readings in Virginia Beach, and the documented cases he gathered show a remarkable trend that will surprise you. In the reading numbered 27-1, Cayce detailed a 5-year-old boy who spoke German fluently, even though he came from English-speaking parents in Kentucky. When the boy's parents approached Cayce about this situation in 1925, he shared through his psychic insight that the child had been a German scholar in his previous life. However, what astonished everyone in that reading room in Virginia Beach was this. The child wasn't merely recalling some random German vocabulary. He was articulating precise excerpts from complex philosophical writings that the German intellectual had delved deeply into. Cayce elaborated that this spirit had opted to retain what he referred to as memory threads, as the efforts from past lives were intricately linked to the child's present life mission. But hold on, it gets even more intriguing. Cayce's insights indicate that not every soul opts to retain memories. In reality, the majority intentionally permit what he referred to as the veil of forgetfulness to obscure their awareness when embarking on a new life. This raises the question, why do certain children manage to penetrate this veil? The explanation can be found in Cayce's findings regarding spiritual urgency and the evolution of the soul. In reading 254-68, he noted that some souls enter this world with what he described as mission-oriented purposes. These are souls that have willingly chosen to come back to Earth swiftly, as they have particular tasks to fulfill for the spiritual growth of humanity. This is where it becomes particularly fascinating. Cayce recorded instances of children who recall past lives frequently retaining unique skills, insights, or even emotional traits, as these aspects are vital for their current life's mission. This isn't just coincidental memories resurfacing. It's a deliberate plan crafted by the soul. Allow me to present an example that illustrates this concept perfectly. In 1928, Cayce conducted a reading for 8-year-old Margaret Thompson from Ohio. The girl had experienced vivid dreams in which she envisioned herself as a healer in colonial America. Each morning, she would recount various herbal remedies and healing methods unknown to her parents. When her worried mother approached Edgar Cayce with this situation, his reading uncovered something remarkable. It turned out that the young girl had truly been a well-regarded herbalist and midwife in Massachusetts in the 1600s. However, the surprising detail, as Cayce mentioned, was that Margaret had consciously opted to recall these healing talents because she was meant to be a trailblazing physician in this lifetime. Keep in mind, it was 1928, a time when just a handful of women ventured into the medical field. Nevertheless, Cayce's insights suggested that Margaret would transform healing methods and connect traditional medicine with spiritual healing techniques. The Thompson family continued to consult with Cayce for several years. Ultimately, Margaret emerged as one of the first female doctors in Ohio, creating groundbreaking treatment strategies that integrated conventional medicine with what we now refer to as holistic healing practices. However, there's something even deeper taking place here that Cayce uncovered through countless readings. Children recalling past lives are not merely tapping into random recollections. They are, in fact, sustaining a link to what Cayce referred to as the Akashic records during their physical existence. Consider the Akashic records as a universal library that holds the entire history of every soul throughout all incarnations. Typically, when we take on a new form, our conscious mind is unable to reach this cosmic archive. According to Cayce's readings, certain advanced individuals possess what he referred to as open channels to their Akashic information, due to their need for this insight in fulfilling their earthly purposes. In reading 1472-1, Cayce noted that children who recall past life experiences are frequently what he called old souls, having undergone numerous incarnations and acquired the spiritual fortitude to manage an enriched consciousness while in a physical body. In reading 3774-4, Cayce presented a perspective that transforms our understanding of spiritual experiences in childhood. He indicated that during the ages of 2 to 7, children typically experience a thinner barrier between dimensions. This explains why young kids often engage with unseen friends, have prophetic dreams, or exhibit psychic abilities. For the majority of children, as their brains mature and they begin to concentrate more on the tangible aspects of life, these spiritual links tend to diminish. Nonetheless, those who are destined to recall past lives possess what Cayce referred to as reinforced soul memory. Their higher selves consistently bolster this connection, ensuring that such memories do not fade away as they age. Nevertheless, there is a surprising trend in Cayce's readings that sheds light on our present era. He noted that from the early 1900s onward, there would be a rising number of children born with retained memories of past lives. He referred to these individuals as the pioneers of a new age, here to assist humanity in moving towards a higher state of spiritual awareness. In a reading from 1602-3 conducted in 1938, Cayce foretold that by the end of the 20th century and into the 21st century, the emergence of children possessing memories of previous lives would be noticeably more prevalent. He stated that this phenomenon was a component of a divine scheme aimed at hastening human spiritual development. Consider this carefully. We are currently witnessing precisely what Cayce anticipated. Accounts of children recalling past lives are increasingly being documented and recognized. Academics such as Dr. Ian Stevenson from the University of Virginia have documented thousands of confirmed instances. However, this is where Cayce's perspectives become significantly applicable for your personal spiritual growth. In his reading 5491, Cayce clarified that anyone has the ability to tap into their own past life memories via meditation and spiritual growth, even if these memories don't come to them instinctively. He shared particular methods for engaging with what he referred to as soul memory. According to Cayce, the crucial element is recognizing that memories from past lives are not meant for amusement or mere curiosity. They are intended to offer insights for contemporary life difficulties and personal spiritual development. Allow me to present another recorded instance that exemplifies this wonderfully. In 1931, Cayce conducted a reading for a 6-year-old named Robert Chen, whose family had moved from China to San Francisco. Robert experienced vivid recollections of having been a Tibetan monk in a past life. He would assume flawless meditation positions that he had not learned, and he chanted in what resembled the Tibetan language. The Chen family felt apprehensive as Robert appeared to be more engaged in spiritual pursuits rather than typical childhood pastimes. Upon consulting Edgar Cayce, his readings indicated that Robert had previously been a skilled Tibetan monk who attained significant spiritual enlightenment. What's truly intriguing is that Cayce clarified Robert's decision to be reborn in America was intentional, aimed at uniting Eastern and Western spiritual beliefs. His memories from his past life remained vivid because the wisdom of the monk was essential for him to accomplish this purpose. Cayce foresaw that Robert would play a key role in introducing meditation and Eastern spiritual traditions to mainstream American society. This prediction proved to be strikingly precise. Robert Chen matured into one of the pioneers who founded genuine Tibetan Buddhist centers in California amidst the spiritual renaissance of the 1960s. This leads us to an important insight from Cayce's readings regarding the spiritual relevance of our current time. Cayce always emphasized that we are experiencing what he referred to as a transition phase, where humanity is evolving from a predominantly material mindset to one centered on spirituality. Children who recall previous lifetimes are, in fact, advanced explorers, assisting in grounding elevated spiritual insights on the planet. In his readings 39, 76, and 15, Cayce elaborated that these youngsters exemplify the survival of consciousness beyond physical demise, reinforcing the idea that we are eternal spiritual entities undergoing transient human experiences. However, according to Cayce's broader cosmic view, there is an even more profound process at play. He indicated that Earth functions as an institution for soul growth, with multiple incarnations allowing us to acquire diverse lessons and cultivate a range of spiritual attributes. Children who recall their previous lives frequently emerge as advanced learners prepared for swift educational progression. This accounts for the exceptional wisdom, compassion, or spiritual perceptions they often exhibit, which appear to exceed what one would expect based on their age. They tap into the collective knowledge acquired through various lifetimes of spiritual growth. Additionally, Cayce's insights shed light on why some parents may experience both gratitude and difficulty in nurturing children with past life recollections. These kids typically possess profound spiritual missions that necessitate comprehension and encouragement rather than doubt or apprehension. In his reading 2072-4, Cayce suggested that parents of children with spiritual gifts should create environments that respect the child's spiritual essence, while also promoting typical childhood growth. He highlighted the necessity for these children to receive both spiritual support and practical guidance relating to their lessons in this lifetime. This is where Cayce's insights can be directly relevant to your spiritual path. Regardless of your ability to recall past lives, Cayce indicated that you can tap into the wisdom of your soul's entire journey through committed spiritual practices. He advised engaging in daily meditation, prayer, and what he referred to as attunement with your higher self. In his readings 262-89, Cayce discussed how information about past lives is revealed to us when it's necessary for our current spiritual development. This insight can manifest through dreams, moments of clarity during meditation, or an intuitive understanding of circumstances we've never faced consciously. The crucial aspect is cultivating what Cayce referred to as spiritual receptivity by maintaining a consistent connection with the divine essence inside us. Additionally, there's another surprising insight from Cayce's teachings regarding children and their recollections of past lives that links everything cohesively. Cayce indicated that souls frequently reincarnate in clusters, returning together over multiple lifetimes to continue their journey of learning and service. Children who recall their past lives often recognize family members, friends, or teachers from earlier existences. This phenomenon accounts for the immediate and profound connections some children experience with certain individuals, as well as the seemingly strong spiritual ties found within certain families. In reading 57:56:12, Cayce explained how groups of souls coordinate their incarnations, with some members opting to retain memories of previous lives to aid in the spiritual advancement of the group. This universal view indicates that children with memories of past lives are not mere anomalies. Rather, they are playing essential roles in the spiritual development of humanity. As we progress through this era of global spiritual awakening, Cayce's insights imply that we will encounter a growing number of spiritually evolved souls coming into being with heightened awareness and purposeful missions. Grasping this phenomenon allows us to appreciate the sacred essence of consciousness and our lifelong spiritual quest. Whether you are a parent of a child with spiritual gifts, are curious about your own past life connections, or simply wish to gain a deeper understanding of human consciousness, the documented readings of Edgar Cayce offer significant insights into the enigma of our true identities. The children who retain memories of their past lives remind us that we are all eternal souls, temporarily inhabiting physical bodies and continually evolving in our wisdom and spiritual comprehension through various lifetimes. Their recollections function as links between dimensions, aiding humanity in recalling our genuine spiritual essence and purpose. As Cayce often emphasized, we are not merely human beings experiencing spirituality. We are essentially spiritual entities experiencing life as humans, and some individuals opt to stay consciously connected to this reality, even while inhabiting physical bodies. This insight alters our perception of childhood, awareness, mortality, and the extraordinary path of soul growth that we all share. However, there is an additional revelation from Edgar Cayce regarding these spiritually advanced children that will significantly reshape your perspective on your own spiritual capabilities. In his 1968 readings, Cayce also noted that children who retain memories of past lives frequently act as catalysts for the spiritual awakening of their entire families. These young souls do not merely recall their past experiences for their own benefit. They play a crucial role in elevating the spiritual energy of those around them. Take note of the well-documented case involving 7-year-old Sarah Mitchell from Richmond, Virginia, whose narrative was filed in the archives of the Association for Research and Enlightenment in 1934. Sarah began to experience vivid recollections of being a Civil War nurse, complete with intricate medical knowledge regarding the treatment of injuries sustained in battle. Initially, her parents were doubtful, but they sought assistance from Edgar Cayce after Sarah accurately detailed surgical techniques and herbal remedies she could not have possibly learned. Cayce's readings confirmed that Sarah had indeed worked as a nurse on the battlefield during the Civil War and had perished while tending to injured soldiers. However, there is one remarkable detail that Cayce unveiled. In Sarah's present life, her parents were previously soldiers she had rescued in an earlier existence. Her soul opted to be born as their daughter to carry on the healing mission she initiated more than 60 years prior. This situation illustrates what Cayce referred to as karmic completion cycles, wherein souls come back to collaborate with the same individuals over numerous lifetimes. Adding to the intrigue, Cayce's readings indicate that such children frequently catalyze significant spiritual awakenings within their families. Initially doubtful of anything mystical, Sarah's parents transformed into committed learners of spiritual growth after observing their daughter's extraordinary talents. James Mitchell, the father, eventually became a founding member of the Edgar Cayce Foundation, while his wife, Helen Mitchell, honed her psychic gifts and provided guidance to families with spiritually gifted children. This trend is evident throughout Cayce's recorded readings. Children who recall memories of past lives often take on the role of spiritual guides for both their parents and their communities. In reading 3902, Cayce clarified that these enlightened souls frequently forego typical, carefree childhood experiences to act as conduits between the spiritual and physical realms, bearing significant responsibilities from an early age. This is the reason Cayce stressed the necessity of providing support for these children, instead of dismissing their experiences as mere imagination or fantasy. He cautioned that children who face ridicule or punishment for recounting memories of past lives might completely suppress their spiritual abilities. However, what is truly extraordinary about our present era, according to Cayce's prophetic insights, is found in reading 397629, delivered in 1944. Cayce anticipated that the time frame from 1998 to 2025 would experience a remarkable surge of what he termed Atlantean souls reincarnating on Earth. These souls are those who existed during the highly developed civilization of Atlantis and are now returning to assist humanity in avoiding the same errors that led to the downfall of Atlantis. Cayce believed that the downfall of Atlantis was a result of its inhabitants acquiring immense technological prowess without having the necessary spiritual insight to match. Does this resonate with you? A number of children born today, who reportedly have memories from past lives as indicated in Cayce's insights, are thought to be these reincarnated Atlantean spirits, recalling the remarkable accomplishments as well as the grave mistakes of that long-lost society. In reading 364-4, Cayce explained how these souls are intended to assist humanity in addressing the complexities that come with advanced technology, all while preserving a sense of spiritual equilibrium. They are meant to act as living examples that highlight the perils of pursuing material advancement without nurturing spiritual growth. This sheds light on why numerous children with recollections of past lives seem especially passionate about issues related to the environment, social equity, and spiritual growth. They are embodying the insights obtained from observing the fall of civilizations when spiritual values were disregarded. However, there exists another group of children that Cayce highlighted in his readings, which holds even greater relevance for today. In reading 1152-11, Cayce referred to them as Christ consciousness carriers, souls that have attained elevated levels of spiritual understanding in earlier lifetimes and are now reborn to help ground divine love on earth as humanity undergoes its transition. These children not only recall their past lives, but also maintain a conscious link to what Cayce termed the universal Christ consciousness. The love of God that Jesus embodied exemplifies the spiritual potential inherent in humanity. Cayce explained that such souls often manifest as exceptionally wise and compassionate children who grasp the principles of universal love from a young age. They often emerge as peacemakers within their families and communities, showcasing wisdom that surprises their elders. A notable instance is the case of 9-year-old David Solomon from Los Angeles, which illustrates this phenomenon. In 1941, David's parents sought Edgar Cayce's guidance due to their son's remarkable spiritual insights and healing gifts. David would lay his hands on ailing animals, and they would heal. He discussed the concept of universal brotherhood and emphasized the necessity of loving everyone, irrespective of their differences. Notably, he had the ability to perceive others' emotional suffering and provide solace that resulted in deep healing. Cayce's insights indicated that David had previously served as a spiritual guide in ancient Egypt, having connected with what Cayce described at one point as the creative energies. He opted to reincarnate during the difficult times of World War II to help establish divine love amidst humanity's bleakest moments. The reading foretold that David would emerge as a spiritual teacher, guiding countless individuals to comprehend their divine essence. This prediction turned out to be true. David Solomon gained recognition as a revered spiritual advisor and writer, with his publications on universal love and the transformation of consciousness impacting millions. From Cayce's viewpoint, it's essential to recognize that all children who recall past lives are integral to a collective spiritual agenda aimed at humanity's growth. In reading 5749-14, Cayce detailed that souls intentionally design their incarnations with the guidance of spiritual councils overseeing human advancement. Children who possess memories of previous lives are uniquely selected and equipped for their essential roles in aiding humanity's shift towards a higher state of consciousness. Therefore, when you meet a child who recalls past lives, you are observing a significant divine influence on human evolution. These souls have willingly set aside the usual forgetfulness to act as aware connectors between different dimensions. However, the most enlightening aspect of Cayce's insights on this matter is found in reading 262.77, where he disclosed that anyone can tap into their past life knowledge by fostering the necessary spiritual alignment. The kids who effortlessly recall are showcasing the potential that exists within all of us. He introduced particular meditation methods aimed at tapping into what he referred to as soul memory. The essential part is mastering the ability to silence the analytical mind and connect with the profound wisdom inherent in everyone's awareness. Cayce highlighted that details from past lives reveal themselves when we require them for our spiritual development and to aid others. At times, this knowledge manifests through dreams, unexpected realizations, or a deep understanding of circumstances we've never consciously encountered. Children who recall their previous lives serve as remarkable illustrations of the spiritual potential within humanity. They highlight the idea that consciousness is everlasting. Love goes beyond physical existence, and that we are all engaged in a wondrous journey of soul development that encompasses numerous lifetimes and realms. As we observe an increasing number of children entering the world with heightened awareness and spiritual recollections, we are witnessing the realization of Edgar Cayce's prophecies regarding humanity's spiritual awakening. These young individuals are not just exceptions, they are heralds of the new era of consciousness that Cayce foresaw would change our world.